there was an article a couple of weeks ago of, I believe it was an interview with the Netflix
executive at Netflix.
Executive or not CEO, some chief.
Yeah. I think it was a Variety was interviewing him.
This is the Variety article. Okay. Who are they talking to? Ted Sarandos. Ted Sarandos, the co-CEO of Netflix.
Oh, they have two CEOs. Interesting.
So
like the consuls of Rome.
The thing that's curious about his comments, and also illustrates why Netflix is just really a shoveling ground for bad films, and it's not very attractive to AAA directors, is that he made a comment about Oppenheimer recently, that Oppenheimer and Barbie would have found just as big an audience on Netflix. There's no reason to believe that the movie itself is better at any size of screen for all people. There's no reason to believe that the movie itself is better in any size of screen for all people. That's an oddly phrased sentence, first of all. I'm just going to say. I get the gist of what he's saying is that the movie should be entertaining no matter what the screen size is.
Yes.
And I think that's a fair
right
thing to say. But the experience of watching a film on a large format screen is a completely different thing.
Yes. There's a further down section in that paragraph that's the real kicker, which that's why I sent it to you.
Yes. So then he goes on to say, Sir Sarandos then told an anecdote that spoke 1,000 words, mentioning that his son, a 28-year-old film editor, I'd be curious what he's working on, had watched Lawrence of Arabia on his phone. He simply stated it as a fact. But what he was saying was, it's fine. Why not get with the program and watch Lawrence of Arabia on your phone? I mean, the best argument to these statements, especially Lawrence of Arabia, Oppenheimer, anything that is like composed to be seen this way, is the famous 2001 quote from Roger Ebert when 2001 was re-released in theaters in 2001, and the Music Box Theater in Chicago was showing it on 70 millimeter for the first time probably since the 60s and 70s.
Okay, keep it in your pants.
And sorry, I have such a boner. I'm like leaking through my undies.
Did you go and see that when it was in the Music Box?
I did.
Oh,
it was the first time I saw a 70 print was 2001. That screening of 2001.
He's released the Kraken, kids.
Yep, it's true. But his quote is, of film but not of video, 2001 on a television screen is like the Grand Canyon on a postcard. And it's just so succinctly perfect, because it's like you can get an idea of what the beauty is looking at a photo of it, but seeing it in person is going to be a whole different ball game. And that's the same with Oppenheimer and to a certain extent Barbie. I mean, Barbie's still a spectacle movie. They got people singing.
It is true. Like, I would love them to be able to make, like, I would love to see Ben-Hur like on IMAX, particularly that big, huge the chariot scene, like to that grand scope to be able to enjoy it. Which I never got to see it on the big screen, even when it, I mean, I wasn't live when it was first released on the big screen. And I haven't gotten an opportunity since, but if they were able to, like, I guess blow it up to like 70 millimeter and be able to put it on there, that would be something I'd really like to see. But it is a good point about, like, certain movies in theaters do better, like being able to experience the film, like the bravado and the impact of a film on a theatrical screen compared to a television or a phone or any other type of media, is definitely big, because a lot of the movies that we like mentioned earlier, like, or talked about, like all the Avengers movies, Avatar, like how many people have seen those movies after seeing them in theaters? I understand you can go and watch them. Like I can watch them right now on on Disney Plus and stuff at home, but it's like that impact that people got in theaters, where they stood up and cheered and clapped and all that stuff. Like,
Right.
Do people still do that like at home and stuff like that?
No,
like,
and
I don't even know how many people still want to watch like Avatar.
There's also something
afterwards.
There's also something to be said about watching a film in a movie theater with a fixed projection is a different thing, and creates urgency in you actually paying attention and sitting there for the whole movie.
Yeah.
Where if you're at home,
Too many distractions.
I got a phone call.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to pause.
You're not zoned. You don't have that theatrical horse blinders put on you where everything is just dark and it is just focused right there on the screen.
And I'm somebody who does treat, since I live alone and don't have kids or a wife, I do zone in, especially if it's a movie that I like have been looking forward to, that I haven't been able to see in a theater or whatever. I will zone in on it. But even then, the act of going to the bathroom and pausing the movie, just that in and of itself changes the experience of going to see a movie in a movie theater. To answer a quick question really quick from you, Ben-Hur was shot on MGM 65, which was basically a version of Ultra Panavision 70. And so it is natively a 70 millimeter film. Ooh. And the reason I looked this up was because I do believe the Music Box has shown this during one of their 70 millimeter film festivals. So next time you'll have to make a pilgrimage to the big city.
Pilgrimage.
But yeah, so it's just kind of an embarrassing comment for something. I mean, Netflix kind of has to talk shit like this because their entire they don't want to release films in theaters because they don't want to split profits, and they're going to try to sell you on, you just need to get a big TV, and it's just like being in a movie theater.
Yeah, because then it's like, well, you get the big TV, then of course you got to get the big, huge sound bar. Because, people...
Sound bar.
Well, I remember, like, people used to get, like, what was it? Like the big subwoofer and then like the surround set. Like they had like the 5 or 7 speaker set. Now they just basically get the sound bar.
I know, but the sound bar is kind of like... It's I'm opposed to all of this because I can hear it through my fucking wall. It's like if you live in a shared living situation in an apartment complex, you just stick with the 2-channel speakers on your television set, please. We don't need giant subs. Right. Oh God, I keep knocking. I always knock down this fucking windscreen or pop screen. I just too animated. I start talking about the movies, and I get very animated.
Cinema. We're talking cinema, sweetheart.
But this all feeds into the massive failures of Hollywood cinema over the past 2 months for the summer movie blockbusters that have been busted.
Yeah, they got caught for PEPs.
There was
PEDs. They didn't even get anywhere.
There was The Fall Guy and Furiosa.
What was it? Garfield was the other one they were saying.
Okay.
Kids don't know Garfield, all right? Let's just get over the fact.
Who would think Garfield would be a blockbuster film?
Well, I think it's like yet another Garfield attempt. It's like you gotta just stop. Like the Garfield cartoons from like the 80s.
Oh, Garfield not Garfield and Friends. Garfield. That was from the 90s.
Those like late 80s or late 90s.
You're Saturday thinking of cartoons. Like, really? The Saturday morning show is from the 80s? I don't believe you.
I thought it was from like 89.
It's too much shit for me to look up now. Hold on.
Okay, don't worry. But are you talking about like the Garfield like specials? Like
those are
ghosts,
like
older. The pirate ones.
Yeah, those are like the 80s.
Yeah, but like here's the thing, like young kids, like there's been no continuous knowledge or media coming from that particular IP. It's easier to do something with like the Ninja Turtles, where there's been the Ninja Turtles have been kind of continuous from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. But
Holy
Garfield is
shit,
just like
Alex.
what?
Garfield and Friends started in 1988. I don't remember being that young.
I do.
I loved this show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Garfield and Friends.
We're ready to party.
Come on in, come to the place where fun never ends. Come on in, it's time to party with Garfield and Friends. Come on in, it's time to party with Garfield and Friends. Garfield and Friends.
And pay attention. There'll be a test at the end.
And U.S. Acres, which
Not as big of a fan.
yeah, that was kind of a weird tacked on thing because it's like, okay, I don't like the jokes here. When are we getting back to the fat cat that eats lasagna?
Yeah.
And then there was like Heathcliff was the other one, which Heathcliff was like he was the GoBots to Garfield's Transformers.
Yeah, Heathcliff was just a completely different vibe, you know.
And Heathcliff had like the double thing too, where it was like Heathcliff, and then there was like the cat that looked like Dom DeLuise and lived in the junkyard.
That wasn't Heathcliff? He didn't
That
live in
wasn't
the junkyard?
No, Heathcliff was like a regular cat. There was like a second cat. He had like this
There was
like
a second cat.
he had like a bunch of like cronies and this chick that like hung out with him, and they lived in like a junkyard, and they had this like old Cadillac looking thing.
Yeah, I thought that.
He had like a scarf, and they had little like what was it, like the officer's baton thing, and he had like, I don't know, it was like a beret or something. He looked like Dom DeLuise.
Where did Heathcliff live?
I think he was in a house.
He was like a normal house cat.
I think it was a house cat, or maybe he was like an alley cat or something. Heathcliff, do 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 do.
Okay, I remember this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the cat. This is the junkyard guy.
Oh, in my head, yeah, it's all blurred in my memory. I remember Heathcliff being in this car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having major Mandela effect shit.
There he is. There's Dom DeLuise.
Ooh, who's this hottie?
I know.
She's like an 80s exercise cat.
With the leg warmers. See, it's kind of like, why doesn't anybody dress up like that at the furry conventions? It's always just foxes and wolves.
Oh, weird. So what did this other cat do?
He was a dude in a junkyard.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Okay, because that was Saturday morning cartoons.
But yeah, so failures. Garfield, which nobody would really expect that to be a huge success.
Furiosa.
Well, okay, I was going to lead up.
We'll
to
go back to Furiosa.
Yeah, Fall Guy. Another
What was
one.
Fall Guy?
Fall Guy was the one with Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Alex, the last time you went to a movie was with your son, and you left after 5 minutes. I'm just saying your time in the cinemaphile sphere is now, well, Netflix and Hulu streaming.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan Gosling. Okay, I was thinking it was like it sounds to me like
Emily Blunt.
Sounds to me like another Ryan Reynolds movie. He's just cranking up before he can do Deadpool again.
Yeah, well, that's coming out this summer too.
Oh, somebody said another bomb was that there was another Planet of the Apes movie
that came out.
Yes, apparently.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe it was out for a week and stuff. But this is the thing. It's like, I mean, the only one of those that actually I heard anything about, like ads, which I had seen on Twitter because nobody watches TV anymore, was just Furiosa. But it was called like, what was the title? It was like Furiosa, a Mad Max film or something like that. There was like a subtitle to it.
He was a stunt guy who goes on an adventure. It's supposed to be like, man, they changed.
Is he trying to be Chuck Norris?
Why is this all fucked up now? Yeah, I don't know. I actually watched this because it came
Looks
to
like
streaming.
MacGruber or something.
It not my jam either. Mostly the writing. I appreciated what they were trying to do with having like a stunt guy who actually has to be action man.
Actually, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of he gets hired to like look up where the person he does the movie star goes missing, and he gets hired to find the person that he does the stunts for, and then he's wrapped up in like a mob shit and all of that stuff. Fine premise. Emily Blunt's charismatic. Ryan Gosling's charismatic. The script was awful. The action was fine. It was like a C-grade summer blockbuster, in my opinion.
Okay, everybody got their paycheck. Everybody went home
Except for the studio, but yes, everybody else. But anyway, Furiosa is what you really want to talk about.
Well, the Furiosa thing was, I didn't really see any type of viral marketing. I guess I don't even call it viral marketing. It's what is marketing at this point, really. Apart from maybe going on YouTube and seeing like a static image of it, and you think it's a video, and you click on it, it's just an ad, or going on Twitter and stuff like that. Like it was.
I mean, I knew it was coming out because Fury Road was so popular.
Yes.
And that's why the studio and why fans thought this was going to be a big hit, because it's been 8 years, I think, since Fury Road.
Yeah.
The trailer,
long time though.
Yeah, the trailer was not good. And it's become like a bunch of memes have come from the trailer.
In regards to like a lot of this other type of stuff, I think with this Furiosa movie, I think they were like, if you're fans of the Mad Max movies, you're probably going to go and see it out of curiosity because it's another, car chase, post-apocalyptic car chase type of thing. Regular, I don't even know how to call them, but like regular movie-going audiences probably don't have an interest in this at all, because they probably just don't have interest in going to the theaters anymore as it is.
Well, it's an interesting dichotomy though, because last year you had Oppenheimer and Barbie, which on paper don't sound like major billion each one. Let's see, Barbie had like 1.5 billion, and Oppenheimer was like 950 million or something. And it's like I don't think you can say that audiences won't come. I think that you put out a trailer like that, you put out a trailer like The Fall Guy, and expect audiences to show up, and it's just not going to happen. Like, it's just not interesting. There isn't an audience for this. There's not a $150 million audience for either of those movies. Fall Guy is like based on a TV series that nobody remembers. It looks cheap. This looks cheap. It doesn't look like Oppenheimer, and doesn't look like fucking Barbie. That's the easy part. It's like these don't look good.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's self-evident why these movies fail.
Yeah. Because I'm wondering what other movies are coming out this summer.
I think
try to salvage like this
no,
is
it's
like
Deadpool. Deadpool will be probably a huge hit. But I'll put it on the record. Deadpool will be
the
significant success.
Okay.
Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40. You don't want this.
So, all of that to say, Hollywood has run out of ideas.
Yes.
But people have been saying that for the last 20 years.
20 years, and they still keep on trucking. Although, I have to say, in the past 20 years, the one thing that's kind of kept Hollywood alive has pretty much just been superhero movies.
I mean,
which has been the one consistent, quite frankly.
Well, it's time to find something else.